Hello everyone. So I want to just talk about this because I do think it's really, really important. But there's many different aspects to this, so just give me a few minutes to explain it because it is quite a lot to explain. But first of all, of course, when I was in secondary school and national school, I did learn Irish mainly because I was dyslexic. But I would have, I regret the one thing I regret in life, to be totally honest with you, is being dyslexic and not being able to speak my native tongue. It is something that does upset me. And unfortunately, if I would have been born different, I would have probably been able to speak Irish. But the unfortunate thing is, too, in national school would have been the best time for me to learn Irish. But what I'm trying to say is, the resources simply wasn't there, particularly for people with dyslexia, autism, etc. And I was the only one with special needs in my class in national school, which obviously I talked about before, but it was very different. Everybody else could speak basic Irish, and I couldn't, from when I was in junior infants and stuff. But long story short, the resources simply wouldn't there to have extra time basically to learn Irish. That's what I'm talking about first, is that the people with, or even people that are struggling, some people just can't get grip on language, etc. Don't understand language, other languages, and that's fair enough. But the other thing is that there should be extra time, there should be extra resources put towards, maybe trying to help the child learn Irish. Because in junior infants, they just said, I'm hopeless, and that was it. And I don't blame the teacher because it is difficult when somebody has a special, like a dyslexia or autism that can't pick it up. They couldn't basically count to 10. I understandable. They were like, yeah, this is hopeless. But I do regret it. But at the end of the day, it's not my fault. I wish I could, and still to this day, I can't speak Irish, which is unfortunate. It really, really is unfortunate. But as I say, even in secondary school stuff, there was no extra resources. Like in terms of there was a teacher, you could get say 30 minutes a week, something like that. Even that 30 minutes a week, extra Irish, for example, extra Irish classes where the teacher would, a special needs teacher would come in and try and help you learn a bit of Irish. At least speak some kind of sentences in Irish. But the simple reality is, for a lot of schools, nearly 98%. That's not possible. So the resources are not there for particularly with people with special needs. And of course, the exemption level has gone up a lot in the last few years. It's gone up a huge amount. A lot of young people now are not doing Irish due to dyslexia, autism, and especially the new people coming into the country. They're not keen on learning the native language of the country they're in. Or English in that case, they want to speak their own language because they don't want to identify as Irish, etc. Of course, for benefits, etc., but not for anything else. But the simple reality is that a lot of this could be avoided in terms of exemptions in Irish if the extra help would be provided for people, particularly with autism and dyslexia, etc. If the extra help was there, I would have went ahead and done it. To be totally, I would have went ahead and done it. But there was no help. Simple as that, there was no help. Whatever we had was about maybe 40 minutes or so of Irish. I think when I was in national school, maybe a week, or about two classes a week, which was about 40, about 80 minutes or so a week, which is not a lot. And especially when there was a good few in the class and there's only one teacher, she can't be everywhere. It's the same in secondary school, even though my classes were small, etc. But the simple reality is that there wasn't, they didn't have the resources to have 3 or 4 teachers. And that's just the simple thing. They just simply didn't. To look after everybody, to make them learn Irish and help them learn Irish. But I do think we should look at it because it is important, because as we see the native population of native speaking Irish languages, it is quite bad across the country that a lot of people can't speak Irish. And of course that's under colonialisation, of course, British, etc., taking over this country. But the simple truth is that a lot of it is difficult enough. It's not the most difficult language ever, but still difficult nonetheless, especially when there's only a few fluent speakers of Irish in the country, both in Donegal and up that in the Gaeltacht. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's something that we have to look at too in schools, particularly because we have to try and keep it alive somehow. Because unfortunately it's an Indian extinct language and probably will be in the next 20, 30 years because of the amount of people coming in from Timbuktu, etc., bringing their own language to a place to, instead of the English replacing our language, it's Somalian and Indian and whatever else. But you get what I'm saying. It's absolutely insane. But long story short, we do have to look at it. But as I say, there has to be extra help. There should be extra help anyway, to help, say for example, somebody with dyslexia, a person like myself, because it's kind of hopeless now, and a lot of people have said that to me. It's hopeless because if I didn't pick up some of it in national school or secondary school, then it's hopeless pretty much. Especially with dyslexia, you're bound to fail basically. And it was thought about at one stage getting a tutor. It would have been a crown expense. It would have been at my own expense, but the person basically said it would be probably hopeless too. That they would probably maybe loan a bit, but it wouldn't be worth the price, if that makes sense. It wouldn't be worth it because it'd be just basically, it'd be a waste of everybody's time too, and their time, because they would be getting paid, but it'd be wasting money for me to spend, because it would have been a good few hundred, a bit more than actually, sorry, 100. It would have been in the thousands, but as she said, it would have been worthless. It's bizarre. It would have been worthless because maybe would have picked up a few things, as she says, usually it's people that usually she who would just using this example. She's a private Irish tutor. She doesn't usually deal with people with like autism and dyslexia, etc. Because she says it's kind of hopeless for them to pick up a language. Another language, unless they got it from when they were younger, because that's pretty much how they're able to speak it in her experience. Because of course this woman has a good bit of experience, she's 30 years or so experience teaching people Irish, but it's mainly normal people who don't have dyslexia and autism, etc. So yeah, and to be told, she probably was right, because it would have been a few thousand for a good few classes and stuff, and it would have probably been worthless at the end of the day, because I wouldn't have probably picked up. I would have only picked up 3 or 4 things, and that would have been it. And it would have been a waste of whole time too. But anyway, that's just the story too, just to say, because I do feel ashamed deep down. But I know it's not my fault, because at the end of the day, if I was born different, if I didn't have dyslexia and stuff, I would be able to speak to you now. It's a bit of Irish, but unfortunately I can't. I can say some Irish words, but that's it. But it's good that they can save some, a small bit, but there's not much, like Modra and Doris and a few other things. But it's good that you can even remember some of that. But it's very difficult when you have additional needs. It's not easy. It's not easy to even speak English and to do maths, let alone do Irish. But it's something that we do have to look at, because if we did help these people out a bit, in terms of giving them extra classes, extra resources to help them out, they could do it. It could be possible. It could be possible, because again, if the resources were there, I would have tried it. I would have went through it as much as I could. But the simple matter of the matter was either you struggle along with basically the teacher maybe helping you out for an extra minute in a class, or get the exception in Irish, and unfortunately that was what my parents chose, because obviously I was young at the time. I couldn't have chose for myself. But anyway, do let me know what you think. As I say, it is worrying, because there is a lot of people nowadays getting exemptions for Irish. In some cases, ADHD. I've seen some people being given an exception for ADHD. Now that's more a behaviour problem than more a learning problem, a learning disability. It's more a behaviour problem. But I don't know about the ADHD and stuff. I suppose maybe they get very not worked up when they don't understand the language. Maybe that's probably it. But I've seen that being put down a few times in exception letters. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and bye.